Joining now from Des Moines is Jesse Benton. He is Ron Paul's national campaign chairman. Jesse, nice to see you and have you on here. Question here out of the gate. Will Ron Paul win the Iowa caucuses? And by that I mean win, I mean finish first.
We're gunning for it. We're poised to do very, very well, and we got a good shot at it.
How good of a shot?
50-50.
50-50 here.
All depends on whether our people turn out. We've got to turn out our voters better than the other guys.
I want you to listen to something that your candidate and also his son, Senator Rand Paul, said to CNN today, to Dana Bash, about Senator Rick Santorum and the family values conservative. Take a listen.
Rick Santorum is a former senator. You know what it's like to serve in the Senate. You know what it's like to serve in the Congress. Why wouldn't he be a good Republican nominee?
Because he's very liberal.
Rick Santorum's liberal?
Oh, I mean, have you looked at his record? I mean, go look at his record. I mean,
this is liberal.
He spends too much money. I mean, he wasn't leading the charge to slash the budgets and vote against big government.
What do you think, Ron?
He voted to double the size of the Department of Education. He voted to expand Medicare and add free drugs for senior citizens, and he's voted for foreign aid. Those are not conservative principles.
So your candidate calling Rick Santorum too liberal. I mean, did you all anticipate what, it's the S word everyone's using, the surge, the Santorum surge. How worried, how much of that does that factor into that 50-50 figure you just gave me?
Well, we think our main competition is Mitt Romney. We see this as a two-man race, both in Iowa, both in New Hampshire, and both nationally, quite frankly. Rick Santorum's doing quite well, but if people start to look into his record and see just how much money he spent and really how crooked he's been with his pipeline to K Street, they're going to realize he's not the guy we need right now.
How much on your radar, though, is Rick Santorum?
Look, I mean, just as much as anybody else, we wanted to make sure that we got out the word about just what Newt Gingrich had done when he was in power and then out of Washington. And if we need to let people know about what Rick Santorum did, siding with pro-abortion candidates, spending, giving government new ways to take over control of the family's education and things like that, we'll let them know. But at this point right now, we have no plans to do that. This is a race between Ron Paul and Mitt Romney.
Okay, Jesse, as of late last week, we know that the Romney folks were putting out word that they hardly give a hoot what Ron Paul does. I mean, they were saying that their targets are these two guys, Newt Gingrich and Rick Perry. So the Romney folks say Gingrich and Perry are the only ones left who have a fighting chance. Just hearing that, Jesse, does that, I don't know, is that going to under your skin a little bit?
Well, they're trying to do the same thing that we are. We've had several candidates try to pretend that they're real limited government people and represent real change, so we've had to try to knock them off. At the same time, the Romney people, they're trying to take out the other establishment people. So they're going after Newt Gingrich, they're going after Rick Perry, and they want to consolidate all the establishment support. I think they're doing a good job of that, and it's going to come down to Mitt Romney and the establishment status quo versus Ron Paul, the candidate of real change and the candidate of the people.
Obviously we're talking so much about Iowa, and you look at your candidates' numbers in the polls, and they're pretty strong. And you have plenty of folks saying, no matter what happens in Iowa, Ron Paul is one and done, that he can't build beyond his base of the so-called Paulistas. And I hear you laugh, but I have to ask you, look, we have New Hampshire coming up, and your guy is we have the numbers here, way behind Mitt Romney. Romney at 41%, Ron Paul 17%. Where is, Jesse Benton, where is Ron Paul's mass appeal outside of the state you're sitting in right now?
Well, you just showed a poll, and public polling shows us in a strong second place in New Hampshire. We're going to continue to do very well in New Hampshire. We've got a great organization, a great ground game up there, some great ads. In addition to that, we are poised to do very, very well in multiple caucus states moving forward after that. We have professional operations and campaign staff that have been in place for 6 months in Louisiana, Nevada, North Dakota, Minnesota, Kansas, Washington State, Colorado, just to name a few. We're going to do very, very well in these caucus states, and we're going to win delegates moving up to and through Super Tuesday. We're the only candidate besides Mitt Romney with a comprehensive plan to win the 1,100 delegates it's going to take to be the nominee. We're executing that plan, and we're working very, very hard.
I know Ron Paul supporters, they are dedicated, enthusiastic Ron Paul supporters, but then you also have to think, he is 76 years of age, and should Americans outside of this realm of, supporters of your candidate, should they worry that he's just too old to be president?
Well, you have to look at the man. First of all, he is the fittest man I've ever been around. He routinely walks 3 miles a day and bikes 15 miles a day. He's young, he's sharp, and most importantly, his ideas are young. He's young enough to be president. He'd be a great president. He'd also bring the wisdom and the experience to be steady, to guide us through these really tough challenges that we're going to be facing in this country, that we are facing in this country. President Paul is going to have to deal with a lot of problems, and he will have the courage of conviction and the wisdom behind him from his years to be able to stay on course.
Jesse Benton, Ron Paul's national campaign chairman. Jesse, thank you very much. Stakes obviously very high where you are. Remember, our live coverage of the Iowa caucus starts in full force tomorrow.